Kyle's always ready.
Yeah,
okay, we
ready.
are ready. Everybody's ready to go here. Dakota Grappler Live Wednesday night. Coming live again to you guys. We got a special guest, North Dakota 5-time state champ, Wisconsin 133-pounder, Kyle Burwick. Excited to have him on. We are going to have some fun visiting some D1 wrestling, going to talk some history, going to ask a bunch of questions and just have a lot of fun. And I tell you what, been excited pretty much since I talked to you basically online yesterday to get you on, and you said you're available. So guess what? I was drawing up questions. I was going to call your dad and get some secrets.
Oh, yeah.
I thought we got to keep this pretty good, a pretty local show kind of instead of too deep. Mm-hmm. But I know there'll be a lot of people on waiting for a couple seconds, so don't get too big. But biggest question I just want to start off with you is, what's your first impression of Wisconsin going into this year or since you got there?
Since I got here? Well,
yep.
It was big. Like, campus was a lot bigger than my eyes I was like, whoa, when I started taking classes and, I was in lectures with 100 people to 300 people in big lecture halls, but it's a beautiful city, beautiful campus. We have awesome facilities, and I've grown to love it so much. It feels like my home away from home, kind of, but wrestling wise, the first workout I got in when I came here is I wrestled with Coach Reeder right away. Oh. And I was cutting a little bit of weight to make weight for Fargo at the time, actually. And so I was wearing sweats and everything, and he's like, hey, let's just get you drilling and going. I'm like, okay, that sounds fun. And I quickly learned that college drilling can be live wrestling on any given day. But I was hooked from the moment I laced up my shoes and I walked into the room, and the coaching staff, and they got your back no matter what. They have our best interests in mind, and that's all you can ask for, is to have a great tradition and a great program and a great setting, and the hard work is up to the wrestler then. So great place.
Well, awesome. I tell you what, I'm so excited to see you wrestle. You got the Big Tens coming up here.
Yep.
What is the biggest adjustment that you've had to make since day one wrestling on the varsity till today?
Bottom wrestling, big time. I know there's been a few matches where, I've been struggling to get out of the bottom. And so I've been really, really, really focusing on a lot of technical stuff. And there's a bunch of little tricks you learn when you get into college of how to get out of the bottom. And, I'm able to go back and I'm able to look at film and say, why didn't I get out of the bottom in this match? What were my issues here? So that, I would say that, and then definitely finishing shots. That's big time. Everybody is very, very good on their feet, especially in the Big Ten. So that you got to finish hard and you got to finish fast, because if you're going to sit underneath somebody, they're going to, their counter defense is just going to chew you up. So I would say those are the two big areas that I've been working on since the start of the season.
Okay. Well, that's actually kind of a great way to go into this, because we had a guy named Andy Rovert who was on here, and he said that what happens with the best wrestlers, they've been so good they've never experienced bottom. They take down all their kids that they've had in high school, and they do it over and over again. And so that is usually the biggest adjustment. And so it's classic that you come right to that right away.
Exactly.
Well, Bill, I'm going to let you fire away. Bill is my right-hand man, who's my college guru, I always say. So I know that he's got some deep questions for you, and I've got my list. So Bill.
No, I'm just excited to talk to Kyle. Obviously, we watched Kyle kind of grow up in this state, and I'll just go back, and Kyle would know that this was the case. But we watched Kyle wrestle as 7th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade. It didn't matter. When he started a match or finished a match, he looked just like he does today. I could guess when he gets done with the match, he throws on his sweats and he's running laps. He did the same thing in 7th and 8th grade. The only kid in the state that did it, right? I mean, You may have found a couple seniors that did, juniors and seniors that kind of had that figured out. So Kyle's been training for what he's doing today a really long time. So this is not it's not a surprise that we're going to see Kyle as a redshirt freshman wrestling at the Big Tens, and it's very, very exciting, right? I mean, it's cool. So now, going back to the last thing we were just talking about, that bottom wrestling's a tough deal for everybody that makes it to that level. And, you know, we watch it in the Big Ten with freshmen that come up, high level elite guys, because it is the same thing. There was nobody riding you if you were, you know, in high school. I mean, and you didn't spend much time on bottom. You probably didn't even choose bottom very often because you were going to take everybody down on your feet. So, I mean, it's very, very common. So I guess I'm going to just throw it out there, right? So we got our first round match coming up at Big Tens.
Yep.
Got a guy that's about 6'9" and weighs 133 pounds.
Yep.
What kind of adjustments or what stuff have you been working on wrestling? You know, you've already wrestled him once, obviously. What kind of things have you been working on to kind of solve that issue?
Big time is clearing ankles and stuff. If you got a guy that's, you know, trying to drape over the top and just hang on, cling to you, ride a collar ride and stay on the ankle, I got to keep my hips moving. I mean, that's one of the biggest things that I've learned from being in the room is, and you get a lot of experience doing that when you go through those 10, 15, 20, 30-minute grind matches where, you know, if you get taken down and there's 20 minutes left on the clock, you're either going to get rode for 20 minutes or you're going to get away. So, you know, it's a lot of hip movement. It's a lot more moving around and looking for that opportunity to score rather than just, okay, I'm going to stand up and get away. You know, obviously you got to have, you know, bottom wrestling as a mindset. And that's what I was raised to kind of think is, you know, I don't need to relax on bottom. I need to get up and get out and keep moving to score some points. So I've been working a lot on like hip movement, clearing ankles, a lot of stuff like that, clearing that collar ride. And I've got really, really good partners in the room that are very, very good on top. Like I mean, if I wrestle pretty much every single day with Eric Barnett, and I mean, if you go back and you watch some of these matches that he's beaten the guys that are seated ahead of him at Big Tens, he's turning them for 4 all the time. So I know if I can get away from partners in the room like that are that good on top, you can get away from anybody. And that's got to be your mindset going in, especially into a tournament like this. So I've definitely been moving my hips a lot more, working to clear those ankles because that's wrestling a tall guy. That's kind of what you're going to see. So,
right. Well, and it comes down to, you know, the other thing you said, right? You've got to finish fast and clean on a guy like that. I mean, it's a guy you should be able to get to his legs, right? I mean, it's just, but you do have to finish quick. You know?
Yep.
And you know that the style that you wrestle, I think lends to be able to, you know, be very, very successful. You know, in that type of a situation. But it is, you know, you're gonna win that match. You're gonna win that match on your feet. I mean, that's you know, you gotta get on top of him and, you know, and ride him. So it'd be fun. I'm looking forward to it. So
I'm ready to go. I'm so excited for this weekend.
Yeah, I bet you are. So
how about conditioning? You know, compared to what you're at, let's say last year doing, you know, and going into this year and as the season's progressed.
Yeah. So, I mean, as for our program, we really hit it hard preseason because we know that we got to make a lot of ground early in the year. And I learned that, you know, my first year of college wrestling going into it. And I'm really glad I redshirted that year so I could kind of get that out of the way because there was a lot of really fine tuning things that I really needed to figure out, you know, to get into the lineup this year. I really needed to, you know, learn how to wrestle a 3-minute first period at a very high level. You know, when I first got into the room, it was like, okay, it's a 3-minute period. I'll wrestle it like a freestyle match. And you make one mistake, you're down 6-0. And there's 2 minutes left in the first period. That's a long time. And, you know, 7-minute matches, you might think, okay, well, it's a 6-minute match in high school. A minute can make a very, very big difference, especially if you dig yourself a hole. You dig yourself a hole against a very, very good wrestler, and it's going to be very, very hard to score on them. So being in shape wise, I mean, that the mindset doesn't change from anything any high school age wrestler does in our state is you got to outwork the rest. I mean, for me, that's been getting a lot of extra workouts in, getting on the treadmill, you know, getting on the stair steppers, making sure that I kind of take it out of a page out of my dad's book. He he told me when he got to college, he didn't want his legs to get tired. You want to be able to wrestle an entire match, 10-minute match, and not get tired with your legs, because that's where your stance is, that's where your power is. So that's been definitely something that we focus on heavy here, is that we're hustling back to the center, we're hustling back and beating our opponent back there. That's something that Coach Bono preaches to us pretty much every single day. So that's something our program's built on. So being in good shape, that's got to be an intangible that you can throw out the window and just be like, okay, I'm ready and I can wrestle for 15 minutes and still be good.
That had to have come pretty natural to you, right? I mean, that was kind of your MO to start with.
Mm-hmm. That's the North Dakota way. We're not gonna get tired.
Yeah. How about anxiety? How nervous do you get?
Honestly, last year was a lot. I was a lot more nervous before even when I was wrestling in open tournaments. I think when I got to the next level at college, I think I overthought it a little bit. I figured, okay, well, this is the next level wrestling. It's got to be so much, it's got to be, I got to overthink it and everything. But that's really not the case. Especially going into this season, I've been very, very, I've come into the season with a very different outlook because of our circumstances of what we're doing. I mean, granted, we only have 7 matches going into the Big Ten tournament, let alone some other guys in the NCAA who wrestled at the conference tournament for the first time this season. So this is a very, very, very big anomaly in NCAA wrestling and in college wrestling in the history that, I'm just grateful to be able to compete with everything that we're going on. I mean, there's a lot of people that, Division III guys, they don't even get an NCAA championship, but,
right.
Very fortunate they're getting an NWCA one. But,
right.
I've learned to smile a lot. I'm very grateful to, be able to step out there on the Wisconsin mat with the giant W on it and let it, unfortunately we don't have a ton of fans in there or anything, but still, you're under the big spotlight, you're in the field house or you're going to Penn State and wrestling at the Big Tens. It's like, all you can ask for is an opportunity. Our coaching staff all the time preaches, all you can ask for is an opportunity and you just run with it. And so, I've learned to really, really enjoy what I'm doing when I'm wrestling, just enjoy the whole process, even though sometimes it's going to get tough because wrestling's tough, but I'm not going to be able to compete for my entire life. And
right.
So I just have to take what I can get and just run with the opportunity and just love every second of it.
Yeah, no, that's a great attitude. And I think that's, gratitude is pretty important in these times. So it's it'd be great. Hey, so we talked a little bit about the conditioning. Mike, I have a little question on when we get started here at Big Tens. Do you know, are you gonna have a first round match? Do we know that? We haven't seen a bracket yet. So
yeah. If the pre-seeds hold,
yeah.
I know that we weigh in at around 8 in the morning and then we wrestle at 10. So we have a 2-hour weigh in there and then we'll have that first round match. Right.
You
there.
will. That's maybe that's a good thing, right?
That's a good thing.
We want to get him fresh off the scale, I think.
Exactly.
Yeah, so
exactly.
Can we wrestle? Tell him you'll go an hour. You'll go early.
Yeah. Tell him we'll go right away. That was a big thing too. Coming out of high school was getting used to wrestling on 1-hour weigh-ins in those duels, and it's like once you get used to that, and you know that you cut your weight, get down right before your duel, make sure, and that's something that I've had to adjust coming up to a duel is, okay, whatever I'm eating and however I'm hydrating 2 days out from my duel, that's how I'm going to perform. Right. And, that's a trial and error type thing. And something that you got to learn every single time you step on the mat. So whenever you're not learning about your processes and stuff, then that's where you're going to get some setbacks. So,
yeah, that's something we talked about here a couple of weeks ago. I don't remember exactly when, but one thing everybody always thinks we're going to rise to the occasion, but we all generally pretty much rise to our training, right? I mean,
exactly,
to our preparation. So I think that lends pretty good for you. So it's exciting. So tell me about obviously you've been in the room for 2 years with Barnett. Tell me kind of what he's like in the room. Funky. So anybody that doesn't know, Eric Barnett is a 125-pound starter for Wisconsin. I think he's the sixth seed.
6 seed.
So, but I mean that once you get below number 1, you could grab him out of a hat at that weight class.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I firmly believe he can beat anybody. I know that he is he can beat anybody in that 125 bracket. I know there's a lot of people saying that 125 is wrestling to get second. This is Big Ten. This is a Big Ten conference.
Absolutely.
This is NCAA wrestling, and but he's great, man. He's a great workout partner. He's a great teammate. He does a good job at holding a lot of other people accountable. Because he's a hard worker but he's really, really, really funky. If you watch him, he's goofy on bottom. He scores a lot of reversals. He puts a lot of people to their back. He pins a lot of people too. So definitely having a partner like that in the room. I would say he resembles a lot of wrestling Seth Gross.
That was the other question I wanted.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'll let you ask that one. So I'll kind of move on now.
Yeah. I mean, obviously you've got to spend some time with Seth in the room the last 2 years too, and both obviously in the folk style seasons, and I know you guys worked a lot together in some of these, the freestyle stuff and the cards that have happened there. Tell me a little bit about Seth and his what he challenges he brings you and what the kind of growth he's brought to you.
Yeah, he's great. He's great. It's pretty cool to have like a coaching relationship with a guy who's still competing like that, because there's still but he does a really good job at balancing from being a competitor to being a coach. He's not solely in Olympic trials mode and these guys are no, that's when we're in practice, he's focused on us. That's our practice time. And which is really good because he wrestles with us a bunch of the time too. But having a mind like that, I mean, you can't ask for much more. I mean, a guy with a wrestling IQ of that level, and he's and a lot of people who follow Seth, I mean, they know he's kind of a calm, cool, relaxed guy. He brings that persona to your matches. So when you're getting ready for a match, he's telling you, he's like, hey, he's like, hey, this guy's going to be coming here. You just make sure you keep on your strategy, doing this. And, it's so weird because he does some really, really funky, almost, foreign type stuff that you see a lot overseas. So, we get into a lot of positions where he's got a lot of teaching opportunity there. And if you can wrestle a guy like that, like I said even earlier, like if you can wrestle a guy like that and you can stick with him and you can score, I mean, watch out anybody else you're going to step on the mat against.
Right.
So it's great. It's great.
Yeah, I bet. That's awesome. Yeah. I don't how many times has he spladled you? You don't have to. I should have just been a yes or no question.
I'll actually give him one. Whenever you feel him reach over, you're just like, nah, I'll give you a takedown, dude. I'll give you a takedown. Cradle wise, he's got me in a couple cradles, but
from everywhere, right?
Yeah. He's goofy and long, and he still weighs 135 pounds. So
it's hard to believe, isn't it? I was going to ask what actually he is walking around weighing, but I'm not going to ask you. There might be somebody else listening. But just between you and I, no, he just seems huge, doesn't he? I don't, and at 57 kilograms, he's awful big.
Going to be a menace. A menace.
So we're going to talk more college stuff, but I just kind of wanted to throw out this, as long as we brought up 57 kilograms, I see they announced the date of the last chance qualifier today. Is that on your schedule?
I was looking at a little bit about that. I think our coaches have kind of told us to keep everything on the back burner on our minds for right about now. Just
right. Well, you got to worry about Big Tens and NCAA's, but
so I mean,
once I saw it, that was kind of one of those things that popped in my mind that you look pretty good in the U23s or UW juniors. I guess you wrestled in the juniors, right?
Yep.
But it looked good there. Obviously, very good freestyle wrestler. Good on your feet. So.
Get a lot better. Get a lot better.
Yeah, good.
What kind of style gives you the hardest, competition? The most fits.
The most fits.
The long, lanky guys, or the guys that are short and leg passing, or
I'm gonna have to go with the length. Even in high school, I vividly remember wrestling some guys who gave me some challenges that, finishing shots was a big thing. Even in freestyle where I could get exposure and they might bail. I struggled at doing that. And I don't have any, I don't have any pride in not being able to talk about that, to talk about
Sure.
mistakes and stuff like that. I mean, that's being a good wrestler, is being able to identify, okay, well, this is where I got to work on, So yeah, definitely that. But it's like, it's a learning process. I mean, and it's one of those things where you just got to grit your teeth and be like, dang it, I ain't losing to that.
Yeah. Well, that's what we talk about, one of those things that wrestling gives us and teaches us. And, one of them is humility, obviously, because we know no one gets out of this deal unscathed. But
Exactly.
on top of that, it's the problem solving skills and they're a lot of time they're in real time, right? We're solving them, from 1 second to the next. But when we're not doing it real time, we're doing it back in the lab, right? That's that big padded room that you get to spend a lot of time in.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Back to work. And that's one of those things where, you come back from an away trip, from maybe a Friday, Sunday type trip. The guys that are going to be dedicated to it are back in the room the next day. Probably not getting an hour-long grind match in, but whether or not I'm figuring out something on the mat that I'm like, okay, I really need to figure something out here and focus on working on it, and not really wasting any time in just being complacent, because as Coach Bono would say, if nothing changes, nothing changes.
Right. Yep.
What do you do on, let's say, a day where you need to refocus, where there isn't wrestling? What is it? Is it more mental, or what do you do? Do you just get away? Do you find friends? Yeah.
For me, I think it's I kind of like to sit and think a little bit. I don't really I definitely like getting outside. That's one big thing I learned pretty quick when I got to college is that when the weather was nice, especially, I would spend quite a bit of more time outside than I actually thought I would. I mean, when I got to college, and you're so used to high school, like going to school for 6, 7, 8 hours a day, and you're in the same building and you just go from class to class to class. And I would get in that groove where maybe I would go outside for half an hour at lunch or something. But, in between classes and stuff and workouts, and I get outside, enjoy the outdoors, and just really be able to kind of let my mind just refocus itself. One thing I definitely found helpful was reading. I didn't really enjoy reading all that much in high school, but I've had some teammates that are, they like to read and read some things like some old Greek philosophers, if you can believe that. I'm actually reading some of that, Marcus Aurelius and stuff like that. But it's stuff that applies to a lot of what wrestling is, and a lot of what, because wrestling doesn't just stop when you leave the wrestling room. I mean, it's a part of my life, and it'll follow you wherever you're going to go.
Mm-hmm. There's something. Oh, I know you got a question, but I wanted to make one quick point before I even forget. Something about sport. I know you like the hunting, and did you miss that this fall?
Oh yeah, the first couple of years I was like, I'd see my buddies on Snapchat and stuff and Instagram. They'd be posting all their stuff, going out and hunting, and I'm like, oh man, I want to get out there. And so that's why I want to get back over Thanksgiving. I was like, and this year was one of the greatest memories of bow hunting I'll ever have, shooting that buck with my dad. But I'll put it out there before he has to tell anybody. I missed the first shot. I don't know what I was thinking. I missed first shot at like 25. He nailed him at 35 yards, and I was like, yeah, that's your buck, Dad. I messed up the stock, but that's all right. We ended up getting it in the end. But yeah, I do have some teammates out here that I think when I have a little bit more time to set up coming in the fall, they're big. I got teammates that are pretty big into turkey hunting and deer hunting and everything out here. So it's that was one of the big reasons why I still chose to go to Wisconsin. It wasn't too far out of the Midwest. It was a lot like North Dakota, other than trees. And yeah, so I think when I have a little bit more time in the fall to kind of get set up like that. This year was kind of just COVID, rush to school and get tested, and then we still were able to get into our wrestling room until like 2 weeks before our first duel. So, but still, so yeah.
Tell us your procedure on testing real quick, and then I'll let Bill.
So the Big Ten, they have us daily test 6 out of 7 days of the week, and if you have competitions on that 6th day, you test that day too. So we do the nasal testing, the nasal swab testing, and we take pretty much every precaution. If you get like a partially positive test, you have to go in and do another big test to see, and that will ultimately tell you. And we've had a couple of those instances where it's actually a negative test. It's a false positive test. So, and then on top of that, our university has us do saliva based testing twice a week.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. So I mean, especially the coaches can sometimes get randomly selected to test. So they might end up doing 12, 13 tests a week, but whatever we got to do to wrestle, we're up for it. I mean, it's just what we got to do right now. And that's how we see it. We just got to get the work done.
Bill, what was our mantra about COVID? Stay positive.
Stay positive. I'm just happy to be competing. Just happy to be having a season.
Yep.
So, yeah, I had some. There was a few complaints at the state tournament about things that were different. And I said, hey, I made a commitment. I am not going to complain about anything that happens through this season. And someone said to me, we're already here. It's too late. You go ahead and complain now. I said, I'm not going to do it. So, hey, one thing I will tell you before I ask the next question, but is, you comes fall time and you start talking about turkey hunting or bow hunting. I've got some buddies down there in that area that do a lot of turkey hunting and deer hunting.
Really?
And feel free to reach out to me. I may not remember in the fall, but I never know. But you say, hey, I'm looking for a spot to go. You let me know.
Well, you can sure bet on that. I'll use all the resources at my fingertips.
Yeah. There's I got a few buddies that way that are bird dog guys, but they turkey hunt and deer hunt and everything else. So this time of the year we start seeing a few of these high school seniors that maybe had a great state tournament, weren't really thinking they were going to wrestle in college, and all of a sudden they're thinking, man, maybe I should. And we got some juniors that all of a sudden are realizing that, geez, I'm not bad at this sport. Maybe I should look at going to the next level. Mm-hmm. What would you tell them, the benefit, and this could be at any level, right? At junior college to D1. And, the ones that were D1, we probably already know they're going somewhere. But there's a lot of other guys in there that could wrestle at the next level. What are the benefits? I mean, what kind of stuff really makes it worth it for them to do that at the next level?
First of all, I would say to any junior, senior aged high school kid that would be watching this is, I would say, seriously think it over and weigh it out. Everybody's got their own personal and individual feelings towards wrestling and towards what wrestling means to them. And it's not going to be the same for everybody. It's not going to be the same for this kid to the next kid. I would encourage them seriously to think about wrestling at the next level, whether that be you want to set the goal when you're in middle school, I want to wrestle at the Division I level, or I want to wrestle, I want to wrestle in college. I would encourage every single kid to want to aspire to wrestle at that level. And when they get to that level, you bust your butt, you figure out your path. And if it's not for you, it's not for you. That's perfectly fine. You live your life, but you can at least go about it and say, I gave it my shot. And I know a lot of wrestlers that, for my personal friends from anywhere from colleges like Dickinson State to Moorhead, that they get to college and they're like, man, I love this. I love it. for me, the level of college wrestling is you make friends and you have teammates and coaches that seriously care about you. They care about you and who you are as a person and your development and your growth as a person. And not only that, but you have so many people backing you from where you're from. I think we have a big advantage being from North Dakota of what we get. We get all of our senior wrestlers that commit to schools and everything. Our state is rejoicing. We know who they are, where they're from, what their story is, what they want to do, and we are pulling for them 150%. That is the same for me, and I'm in college right now, and I'm scrolling through, the Division II Super Regionals, and I'm looking at my buddies from junior duels that we were on the junior duels team, when we made the gold pools, and I'm looking like, I want to see how well they're doing. I would seriously encourage, anybody listening right now, whether or not you're a freshman, whether or not you're a sophomore, for me, it was when I was about a freshman, and I really figured that out, and I was like, you know what, that's what I want to do.
Okay,
I want to do that.
Got Jim Makovsky coming on. You know Jim?
Yep, yeah, Coach.
Yep. He's asking how old you were when you first took down your dad.
Well, Coach, I think I did take him down in probably like 7th or 8th grade. It was sometime like that. Up until then, he was, I struggled taking him down. But Pops, I know you're listening. I was back in the 106 days. That was back when I was wrestling 106. I probably hit him with a little slick, like low single when I used to try to shoot that as a middle school all the time. And I didn't really understand the concept of putting my head in the knee, so I would just shoot through. And
yeah, he says your dad was so quick in college he could play tennis by himself.
That's I've heard those stories, and now that I got Coach Makovsky telling me that, now I believe them 100% because he'd always tell me that, and I'd just be like, man, what is he talking about? Like he's full of hot air, man. But
and then Muggs Holbein wishes the best of luck to you.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Yeah, that's the funny thing about North Dakota, though. Those guys that go to the next level, most of the time, their parents,
Mm-hmm.
Their relatives, the whole clan. It's kind of interesting. That's how tight North Dakota wrestling is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, we, like Kyle said, everybody, a lot of those kids all wrestled on, elementary duels and junior duels. And,
exactly.
And, as well as, we'd all end up at preseason nationals and postseason nationals. And, everybody's surrounding the mats. When North Dakota kid was wrestling, and it's kind of the same story. We're still surrounding the mats. We're just going to be doing it from a long ways away this weekend. So
yep, exactly.
We'll have a nationwide watch party for you.
Oh yeah, big time.
And then David Rao, old Standing Rock, Mobridge boy, says, "Go get him, Kyle."
Thanks, Coach.
Yep, and they appreciate it. I tell you what, you guys had a great Region 4. You guys had kind of a tight region.
Time.
So you kind of know everybody from there. Quick question. How about Starstruck? Is there any wrestler right now that you wouldn't mind meeting at the D1 level that's maybe wrestling or not wrestling?
It's
Braxton Amos, isn't it?
I know Braxton. He's got a locker next to me. He's a good dude. He's gonna be a menace when he gets on the mat. Man, who do I want to meet? I know. When I was in high school, I was like, man, I want to meet Kyle Dake.
Okay.
I always thought that. I was like, man, I want to meet Kyle Dake. Like, he's got the first name Kyle. And I remember I got the Cornell socks and everything. Like I wore them everywhere, and I was like, man, and I was like, yeah, Cornell. I can't think of one right now, but yeah.
Well, I'm hoping there's a ton of guys that would love to meet you. That's what I'm hoping in the future. That'd be pretty cool.
Well, you know what? I love to meet everybody. Like I'm never opposed to meeting people. I could never see being at any level and be like, nah, I don't got time to meet people. It's like I love talking to everybody about everything wrestling. I mean, there's no reason I wouldn't give anybody the time of day to talk wrestling or talk about life with wrestling,
Yeah. No, that's one of those things that, and we see that a lot of these guys, and I guess we talked about this the other
Humble.
last week
Yep.
with Shauna Kemp, that people that are really successful at a high level, one of the things they have is they have that one, they just have a love for the sport, right? I mean, that we're wrestling nerds just like everybody else, right? We love the sport, we love everything about it. Doesn't matter what level we're watching, or we're following, and then we got a humility about them, guys like Kyle Snyder and Jordan Burroughs and Helen Marula, as we talked about last week too, that are just great people, and that is just part of being a successful person.
I think most wrestlers know that they didn't get there by themselves.
Exactly. It takes a whole village. It takes a whole village to get somebody there.
No.
So how about impressions in the room? You have your own little corner. How are you guys handling that? Are you guys doing pods? You doing, for compared to other people in the room?
Like COVID wise, you mean?
Right.
Yeah. So actually, the Big Ten is a little bit more lenient since we test like that. We always practice really early in the morning. That's when we practice. So we COVID test, and you have to pass that test to actually go to practice. So they're a little bit more lenient. We're a little bit, obviously we have to be spaced out enough. But when you have your set partners, and obviously, me being at 33, I'm probably not going to wrestle with anybody heavier than 149 pounders and obviously the 25 pounders and Seth. So we get a little bit of freedom with that. Coaches wise, they're a little bit more strict about that, about, getting around with that. But we do a really good job because, we've done such a good job with the season at staying healthy and every single one of my teammates has done an outstanding job of really knowing what the season is worth. Because at this point in the season, if somebody comes down with it being a knucklehead and gets a lot of other people out, we're done. You're done. Your program's gonna be shut down and you're done. So I really got, I really appreciate all of our teammates doing that, and we hold each other accountable. So we do a really good job at that.
How about going to class? Do you guys have mostly online classes or?
Yeah, so the first semester of this year, I was completely online. I never had to, and that's how a lot of my teammates, I would say that's 90% of my teammates right now. I could probably pick out maybe four or five of us that have an in-person class. For me, I did get pretty lucky because I got accepted into the physical education major here. So the School of Kinesiology. So I was really pumped about that, and I was like, yes, let's go. Maybe I can get some in-person classes, and I do. I have some adapted physical education classes and some PE research classes and stuff. So I have a couple classes in person. As for our university is so big and widespread with those saliva-based tests that we have an app that tracks our testing results and everything. So to get into any of our buildings for our classes or anything, you have to have a recent negative test. So yeah. So within like a 96-hour period, you have to have a negative test to be able to get into stuff. And instead of looking at it like, oh my gosh, complaining here and there, what could we do different? And this is BS. It's like, okay, well, this is what I got to do to get to class. So I'm just gonna
do what you have to do.
Yeah, I'm gonna do what I have to do and go about it how I'm gonna have to go about it. So class is a little bit different. I think they told us that mostly next semester should be, somewhat normal. Should be more to that. But I think a lot of universities are in the same boat right now. I feel for a lot of, I know that first semester I struggled with online school a little bit more than I thought I would. So I feel for a lot of other students at any level, whether it be kindergarten to middle school to college, that feel like they're in kind of a tough situation there. I sympathize with a lot of people.
For sure. I couldn't handle the online all day. I was too ADHD as a kid. There's no way I would have been able to do it. So even at the college level, I can handle, I took my master's all online and all that stuff, but it's different as you get older.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
No. So I want to know kind of your off-season goals. Now, not that we're going to look that far ahead, but do you have planning on doing some camps? What do you plan on doing for your summer?
A lot of camps.
Pass.
A lot of camps. I know that however we're able to integrate it with, I'm not quite sure what barriers we're going to have to go around. Like I'm not quite sure moving forward what the social situation looks like, let's say after March, when NCAAs is all over and everything. Obviously that's something that would probably go week by week, day by day. So I know that prior to the wrestling season, I was able to do a few camps out in Kenmare and down in South Dakota and stuff. So I was very, very grateful for those opportunities. I mean, they were smaller camps, but it was like, however I can get to, working with these middle school, high school, elementary kids is how I want to be able to do it. So I know that me and my teammates got a lot of stuff set up. I know recently down in Hettinger, I'm not exactly sure who to give entire credit for, so I'm just going to go straight to the wrestling club and everything. They kind of set up like a wrestling academy down there on our main street. So I know that I'm going to probably come back home, do a few camps and at Southwest Wrestling Academy and everything set up there. So I'm looking forward to that. And not only that, but I'm looking forward to competing at whatever I can. I know that I was a UWW junior last year with the weird timing of the tournament. So U20, I know I'm going to be in the U23s this year. So whenever that is, whether I believe it's at the end of April, that will be on my schedule for sure. I know that there's a lot of stuff that I want to improve on from last time. But for college age guys, that's kind of about it. When you get to college, you don't really have, okay, well, I got my state freestyle and Greco tournament, my qualifiers, and then junior duels, then Fargo. You don't really get that, which I definitely miss, because those are very good memories and team camps and everything like that. But summertime I slot for a lot of, I want to pay it forward. And while at the same time, summertime wrestling is where you're going to be an NCAA champion. There's a lot of stuff done in the dark that's going to be brought.
Well, I would say that there's a pretty good chance we could see more of these, RTC cards too, right?
Yes.
I mean, there's a pretty good chance we'll see more of those happening.
Oh yeah, for sure. So, that was something that I brushed over a little bit. Thank you for reminding me. I know that our we call ours the underground.
Yeah, underground. Yep.
I know our coaches love them, and they're awesome events. I think that's great for wrestling. Honestly,
right.
Like think about what we've been able to do within the past year of them even happening. Yep. Set these up, get these, especially for even, middle school kids and other youth kids, like they get to wrestle on a card in front of Alec, guys like Evan Wick and Seth Gross and all sorts of other, Thomas Gilman and all these guys. They're like, wow, I get to wrestle in the same event as him. It's like, that is amazing. And I don't see those slowing down anytime. And even for me, I've been able to wrestle in one of them. I'm very grateful, and those are awesome opportunities. Usually, we don't got to cut a ton of weight for them, find a catch weight and be like, okay, yep, shake hands. Let's go.
Yeah, that's awesome. So talk a little bit about the RTC. So there is some guys, right? Evan Wick, Braxton Amos, we talked about a little bit. Seth, of course, and a handful of great women there now too.
Yep.
What kind of schedule are they getting? I mean, obviously I'd want to see him. I'd like to be having Wick sitting in the Big Tens this weekend. I think Braxton Amos should be in Big Tens this weekend, but that's not my call. But I just think these guys we want to see him, especially in a year like this where it would be kind of a free year, so to speak. But but what kind of a workout schedule do they get?
So it's pretty cool. So technically, before our season started, we were hosting our RTC practices at our RTC location, which is awesome because we get a lot done. We can get a lot of training done with some very, very good partners, and we have a little bit of difference in the coaching staff when it comes to the RTC. Obviously, we have our regular coaching staff that's out there, but then we have some other guys. We got Coach Schmirk, our heavyweight, Newton Schmirk, and then we had Johnny Sebastian there, but Johnny moved back to New Jersey. He got a new job, but he was great while he was there and everything. So we get a lot of different, like, coaching perspectives from there. But as for those guys are on they're on their own workout routine as well, because and I would assume it's the same for Big Ten across the board for all their programs, is that none of those RTC wrestlers are able to wrestle in your college room while you're training, and technically for that, which makes sense. They're not on our testing schedule and everything, and they're technically not enrolled in school. So they have their own training schedule, where at the same time, all of our college wrestlers are part of the RTC. So we're able to, work out hop if we have to match up partners and do everything like that, which is perfect for what we need to be doing, and it opens up the opportunities for all of our guys. And then those RTC guys they're still training, they're not just sitting around and it's like, okay, well, we got to wait for our next RTC event and we'll just go work out on our own, scraping by with however we can. No, it's we've been doing everything by the book, how we've had to do it and how we've had to make it happen, and it's awesome. And then transitioning from the NCAA season into the RTC season, and it's a smooth transition, and it's now that being in my second year going into it, it's like it's awesome.
Okay, how about, maybe this is a tough question, you can answer it or not. Which style would you rather wrestle?
Ooh, it's a tough
one. Which is more fun? How about that?
Which is more fun?
I'd say, of course, freestyle is always more fun. But
oh yeah, but it's weird. I was actually talking to some of my teammates that we wrestled all the time in practice, and we'd be wrestling freestyle, and we're like, dang man, this is so much fun, and we get to wrestle on our feet all the time. Even when you go live, it's like, okay, if I get taken down, I can have good parterre defense, and then I can get back on my feet and wrestle right away.
You don't have to try to get out from bottom.
Yeah. Like you get into you get into the college season, you get taken down like right away in a live go.
Oh man,
it's like, I gotta get away. But I don't know. Like I've always been a folk style guy. I really like mat wrestling. I know, especially a lot of the the spectators of wrestling, they kind of frown upon folk style wrestling. There's a stigma around it because of stalling and everything, but yeah, I really do like, I like folk style wrestling, but for me, it's definitely hard. I think whatever season I'm in is probably my favorite at the time, which I know is kind of
no,
I'm not
good.
Answering the question, but
no, that's fine.
But that's how I feel. Like when I'm wrestling college right now, it's like, I wouldn't rather be doing anything else. But then when I get into the freestyle season, it's like, man, all I want to do is, double leg some fools and leg lace them, So
yeah. Actually, when John asked the question, my first thought was it's whatever the ref tells him he's doing. That's what he likes.
Yeah, whatever we walk out on the mat and they're just like, okay, you're gonna wrestle.
Like, collegiate ref. Okay, yeah, we're wrestling folk style today.
But I see guys in college going in with the mindset of being a freestyle wrestler in a college match. The guys that want to throw and do whatever else, and 90% of the time plus they're not that successful. They'll have their big match and big throw and maybe surprise somebody, but it's not the same. They cannot necessarily always handle that collegiate style.
I thought you looked pretty good in Greco when you're wrestling Seth Gross in Greco. I thought that was kind of fun.
Yeah. That was a little. I would. Seth, if you're watching, I was fooling around.
I thought you had him.
Oh yeah, I went for that. I know. In high school when I wrestled Greco, I was like, all right, I ain't getting headlocked, I ain't getting body locked. I'm going 2-on-1s to snap downs to control,
Russian ties,
and I was like,
No. Well, how about this? If what are you going to say to those guys coming in this year? I think this year's senior class. Have you guys already decided, who you're recruiting type things? And what I wanted to say is these freshmen coming in probably have the hardest because people are not graduating out. This freshman class coming in, I would say 90% of the wrestlers that have good caliber wrestling are getting their masters now or whatever else are going to stick around the program. So it's kind of a raw deal for some of these new guys coming in. How do you approach somebody like that?
I think it's a really tough situation because me being kind of in the middle of it, I'm not exactly sure how I would feel in their shoes. I would probably be feeling a little bit discouraged because it's like, okay, they, if they choose to, they don't use that year. They're still frozen in their eligibility type wise. But I think you're going to see a lot more wrestlers move on than you kind of think.
Okay.
But that's my personal opinion. I think there's going to be a lot of guys that will still understand, even though it was less than what is normal for a season. It is still something to, and it means, and especially, it's college wrestling. It means the world to us wrestling. Like nothing means more than that. Like we don't take that lightly. So I think you're going to see a few more move on than meets the eye, but also that doesn't take away from the fact that we're frozen in that eligibility if we choose to. So telling a freshman coming in, I would just say, hey, you're getting a really big wake up call to what college wrestling is right away. Like before you even lace up your shoes and put on the mat, you just get boom smacked with that, and it's not going to take a hour-long grind match for you to figure that out, like maybe previous senior classes. So I think the lesson is the same. It's just the method of it being delivered is a little bit different, but I think it's going to make those seniors better for it, all across the board, whatever level it is. I think if they truly want to go into the college wrestling scene and be successful and whatever their definition of success is, they're going to do that. They're going to find a way. Mm-hmm. So I think they will be better for it. They'll be tougher for it. And as for being teammates to a senior class like that, I'd just be like, hey man, you're our teammates now. Let's get this done. Like that. That's how we do it. That's how we're trained. That's how wrestlers are trained.
Let's go to work.
Yep. Let's go to work. Let's get it done. The circumstances are not always going to be what you want them to be. And in wrestling, I would probably say that's like 99.9% of the time. So that's what I would do.
Well, there's an advantage that 10 years ago nobody had, right? That for a guy like I'm going to go back to Braxton Amos again, but for a guy to be able to come in and compete and practice at a high level at an RTC and not in their own school, not use up an eligibility year, gray shirt to use the term that generally gets used there, and so I think we're going to see a lot. I think there's a very good chance we see a lot of high school wrestlers do that coming in that first year into the program that's available to them. But the other thing that's really weird is obviously you haven't been seeing any high school seniors, juniors coming around campus, right?
No. See,
there's been a dark period. There's been a dark period for maybe 13 months now.
Going on, and probably don't see that lifting anytime soon.
No, I think they stretch it out till May or something right now. So it's a really long time, and it was a dark period, just a natural one. Yeah. And then all of a sudden we hit COVID, and nobody on the D1 side. No, that's the D2 guys are getting visits. They've been going to campus. So maybe we'll see some of those guys that were borderline or that kind of want to go both ways, be able to get onto a neat a real good facilities and see some great facilities and get wild and see some of those guys and end up in a D2 school. But
well, how about this for teammates on your team? Now, I looked at the Big Ten rankings, but if you had a teammate that could surprise somebody this weekend, who could that be? And maybe, could be on the edge of making it or maybe even winning it. Who could that be? Who would be my wild card to pick up?
Eric Barnett. And then my I'm a little bit biased because I got 5 other roommates and we're all in our redshirt freshman sophomore class type. And Josh Otto. And Josh is he's 14 going in, but I'll tell you what, he's a hammer, man. Like it's any single one of us, and I believe that up and down throughout our lineup.
What about Sharon Brock?
I think Drew Sharonbrock too. Like that was the first thought that came to my head. I'm thinking, man.
Well, he can have so many.
Yeah, are you guys really gonna make me pick one? I want to say almost.
I knew you were gonna want to. I knew you were gonna pick Barnett, but you want to say them all. But to me, Barnett wouldn't surprise me. I'm not gonna say it would surprise me if he wins it, but I mean, it'd surprise me a little if he wins it, right? Mm-hmm. But he makes the finals and gives Spencer a good match, it wouldn't shock me at all.
Mhm.
You know, and I'm a big Barnett fan, so I'm looking forward to seeing what he does. But he's 6 seed, yeah, so he'll be in the bottom half, right? So, but Sherbrooke is dangerous. You know?
Yeah, he's crazy dangerous, and I think that kind of goes for our team. We have a lot of really different. If you look at up and down throughout our lineup, we have a lot of different strengths of our personas for wrestlers. We got the funky guys, we got the lengthy guys, we got the weird leg riders, we got the, you know, I kind of think myself as more of an offensive, you know, kind of bruiser, just keep the pace going, solid, stay solid. You know, we got guys that we're built, and our team is built, and our training regimen is built to be successful at the end of the year, to only keep peaking. You know, and that was something that I kind of learned pretty quick in high school with how, you know, how our coaching did it at Hettinger is we only got better throughout the year, because if we were doing the opposite, then something was concerning. So I think our ceiling for improvement and results and everything is just, it's, you know, and do we have the potential to get there? 110% yes. You know, and that all comes from believing in here, you know, and just doing what we're training to do. You know, now all the work is done. All the work is done up to this point. You're not gonna add something in your style in 2 days. You're not gonna get in astronomical shape in 2 days. So, yeah.
So I know you're probably, and I don't want to assume anything, but I know you know all of these weight classes. You know all these guys in the Big Ten. Tell me what you think of that 184-pound weight class.
Oof, that's a wild one. That's a wild one. I'm really excited for my teammate Chrisweiler. I mean, he's from him coming in and us not, you know, especially the younger guys, you know, kind of the freshmen or the sophomores and everything, you know, him coming in and we got another 6-year senior type guy taking over for Johnny Sebastian from last year. And, you know, from Johnny being such a great role model and being such a great teammate and fighting through some of the worst injuries I've ever seen. I mean, the dude was wearing 2 shoulder braces that were strapped onto him like football pads during practice, and he wrestled with Coach Reeder every single day. I'm like, that dude is tough. And, you know, and then we moved to Chris, who's doing practically the same, wrestling on like one leg, and he's still just kicking the crap out of these guys. And I mean, you go back and watch what we did at Nebraska, and he's down 6-0, comes back and absolutely turns the guy to a pulp and beats him 11-10, you know. And I'm really excited for him to get his shot. You know, he came in from Lehigh round of 12, and you want to go back to your question, Mr. Gums, you asked about me being anxious for matches or anything. Well, some of the best advice I got was from that guy right there. He was like, hey, just wrestle relaxed and just relax. You're thinking way too much, you know, go into these matches and do what you're training to do and just have fun with it. And so I think, you know, I think our dude at 184, and it's big. You be that 1 or 2 seed and you get a bye in the Big Ten tournament. That's huge.
Yeah,
that's huge. You get a bye in the next round. You don't get to wrestle at 10 o'clock.
Right.
And everybody else has got somebody from the Big Ten who is not going to be a pushover in the first round. It's like, wow. Okay.
No, I'm always afraid to say what. I'm an Iowa fan. I've been forever, and my guy's 9 in that weight class. I think he's at Brad's.
But he's really good.
Oh, I know
that's the thing. You know,
that's every weight class. You go up and down. You can't guarantee
that
nothing.
weight class is, and then everybody beats everybody. You know, with the exception of Aaron Brooks, but everybody else has beat, you know, everybody. You know, Chrisweiler's a 2 seed, but you know, but he's lost to 2 guys that are in there, and yeah, it's very interesting. It's a crazy weight class. It's
I think
fun. I mean, it's bananas.
I think that weight class is one of the deepest weight classes in the nation right there, because of the Big Ten
Yeah.
bracket right there. Like, I mean, like you were talking about, you want to talk about Nelson Brands being a 9 seed?
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
then you
Fun.
got Illinois with Braunagel in there. Look out. Like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he's a battler. He's like a
Mhm.
184-pound version of Kyle Burwick.
Yeah. That's pretty good. Well, I tell you what, we've hit the hour mark. I don't want to keep you on forever.
Wow.
You probably got all that PE workout to do. Yeah, all those studies you have to do. But I want to ask you our quick fire questions and see how it goes. I'm going to also put them on the bottom of the screen for people so they know what they go. And it goes pretty quick. Now, one of the questions that wasn't on our list, I'm actually going to put one on the bottom first, that if you were a coach is the first one here. And it goes like this. What would it be like to be coached by you?
What would it be like to be coached by me? I would say my wrestlers, I want my wrestlers in the future to say that that I'm a coach that brings a lot of passion and a lot of energy and a lot of enthusiasm. I want to make wrestling as fun and as energetic as it makes me feel, as I've been around it, and I've been around such great people. I don't want my wrestlers to be able, to come into practice and be dreading wrestling. I want them to be happy about getting the opportunity to wrestle and everything that comes with it. I want my wrestlers to say that I have their back no matter what, inside and outside the wrestling room. And a lot of this is stuff that I've picked up from coaches in my life, whether or not they sat in my chair in the corner. From great coaches I've known from North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota, my coaches here at Wisconsin, it's just, that's what I want my wrestlers to say.
Okay, well, that's gold. That's great information. Okay, here comes the rapid fire questions.
Yep.
Okay, good. Gatorade or Powerade?
Ooh, Gatorade. Gotta go Gatorade.
What color?
Oh, you're putting me on the spot here. In high school, I always drank strawberry lemonade, but I can't really. I don't find that here. So I'm gonna go with Glacier Freeze.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, popsicles or dilly bars?
Gonna have to go with the dilly bars on that one.
Wrestlers have to avoid them a lot, but I tell you what, good time after the season.
Yeah.
Okay, mama's boy or rebel?
I'm probably a mama's boy. I know, Mom. I know you're watching. I'm a mama's boy.
Okay. Are you fast-paced or consistently slow?
Fast-paced. I think a lot of people could look at me the way I warmed up in high school and everything, and that was something I also worked on when I got to college. I would definitely drain myself a lot more than I probably should have. But you live and learn. Fast-paced.
Okay. Physical or mental athlete?
Wrestling, in wrestling, you really got to be both. But the physical part comes with it. So I'd say mental.
Okay.
99.9% of wrestling's all up here.
So true. Favorite holiday?
Christmas. I love Christmas time. I love being around my family. I love being around my girlfriend and her family, and just everything. I love the snow. I love the Christmas carols. I'm getting the kind of butterflies like I did when I was in kindergarten and I watched the Polar Express.
Okay. Dan Gable or Cale Sanderson?
Tough one. I'm gonna go with Dan Gable because he was like, when I was a really, really little kid and we were figuring out who we wanted to aspire to be, and Dan Gable kind of came to mind, and I didn't really fully understand Cale Sanderson at the time. So I kind of just grew up and I'm like, Dan Gable.
Okay.
I
have a quick question. Do you understand Cale Sanderson now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Now that trust me, I know about the coaches who are in the opposite corner of me and the goals.
Favorite number?
I think I'm gonna have to go with number 2. Go with number 2. That was just my dad's racing number, and that was always the number I wanted to be in football, but I always picked either 10 or 1. So I don't know why I did that, but I'll go with number 2.
Okay. 2 is for takedown. Takedown 2.
Ooh. That's the only thing. I did love hearing that in the Fargo Dome when you'd be wrestling in the finals. 2.
Okay. Best wrestler you ever wrestled in high school and in college so far?
The best wrestler I ever wrestled in high school. We're gonna go in high school season.
High
school doesn't matter. No,
you can pick it.
Yeah,
you can even pick it Fargo or something.
Fargo was probably Kaleko from Pennsylvania, wrestles at University of Pennsylvania now, and then college, I would say Bravo Young. I just it was just a really, really unique feel, and it's one of those things where you kind of get a reality check at like, okay, I know what I have to do to jump levels. So,
you scored 6 on them.
a lot of
11-6, I think, if I remember right.
6 escapes. So I mean, but we got to.
He's so fast. I mean, I just can't. What's it feel like to have to wrestle that kind of speed? I mean, that's got to be something you hadn't seen before.
Yeah, I actually, when I was in the middle of the match, I was able to figure out it's a combination of being fast with his speed and his reaction time, but also having strategy. It was
sure.
kind of like being one step ahead of me. Whenever I wanted to clear a tie, he was already into an attack, knowing that, okay, if he's clearing a tie, I'm coming here. Mm-hmm. And so I think that definitely kind of made me realize something that it's going to take some time to develop, and something that I got to really focus on, like re-attack wise, is kind of shoot to where I'm going to be and not where I'm at.
Well, I think you learn though, but that strategy is how you beat that, right? I mean, it's not you're not gonna out quick him, right? I mean, you're as quick as you're gonna get, but it's all gonna be in that strategy. And I think you're smart enough in the sport that you're gonna improve on that performance every time.
Yep.
Okay. Any habit you learned in wrestling that you do still today?
Well, he's still doing it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I would say. Yeah, I was talking about earlier low single and stuff. I've actually been coming back to that quite a bit. But something that I've fixed with that is making sure I don't shoot all the way through every time. And because usually in college, you don't want to shoot all the way through. I would much rather shoot and take him down by bending his knee outward there and just getting the easy takedown rather than coming up through the back. So,
okay. Would you ever do a backflip after you won a match?
You see, I learned how to do a backflip right when COVID started, when I went up to train with Luke.
I heard this from somebody that you learned how to do a backflip.
Yep, and I kept trying. I went up to train with Luke and where Coach Melmer and the St. Mary's guys and the Matt Pack guys for like a week. And I was up there and the weather was nice. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to learn how to do a backflip. I did I tried doing backflips for half an hour every day after we got to wrestling. I eventually got them one day. And that was like the only day I could do it. So I think I would, you see all
if
those,
you could.
If I could, I would. I always thought about that. I always thought about that at the state tournament. I'd be like, I'd be warming up and I'd be like, dang, I'd do a backflip if I could.
How about ending a match? Have you ever seen a good finish for someone getting their hand raised? Any motion that they ever did?
I
saw one this year I'm going to bring up.
I would have to say, I'm thinking of it. Maybe the Bubba Jenkins. The boom, 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 boom. That was pretty cool. That was pretty cool at the time in like middle school when I was watching that, and I was like, wow. And then, Coach Burwick was watching at the same time. He's like, you ain't doing that with your leg bands. And I was like,
yeah, that's surprisingly enough, Redens took his ankle band off and shot it down.
Oh, he did. You see, I was trying to watch the placement rounds and everything, and
Clay Redens did it.
And I realized that I couldn't get on BEK in time, and I was like, shoot.
But very good. No, any last questions for him, Bill? We've had him for over an hour.
No, I don't. Just want to wish you the best of luck, Kyle, and obviously that you got to get focused on the first round match. That's a kid you can beat. You've done it in the past, so you just got to go to work and have some fun. That's the main thing, right?
Oh yeah, have a blast and just realize the opportunity that's in front of me and just run with it. Just go have a blast, like you said.
one at a time. Take the first thing that's in front of you and move forward.
Yep, one at a time.
No doubt. We'll be watching, and I wish you the best of luck. Great interview. We'll have you on again, and I tell you what, you speak so well. I definitely have some gold statements in there. You did a good job. You did a very good job tonight.
Perfect. Thank you guys. I really appreciate it, and for a lot of the people back home in North Dakota, like I tell it to pretty much everybody that I talk to from back home, is just I feel the support so much, and I have way more than just Heading or Scranton fans backing me, and I'm so very grateful for that. I mean, that's, and one last thing for all those kids going into wrestling in college and everything, that's what you're gonna feel. Trust me. And there's no better feeling in the world than it, because North Dakota has such a great community, and I'm so grateful that we have guys, great guys like you doing this. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm speechless.
Well, I tell you what, very good luck to your team and everybody else, and we'll be watching.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Well, guys out there, John Gubbs, Dakota Grappler, Bill Holton, we'll get on again. We have not summarized some stuff that happened down in the D2s. Kyle, if you want to stick on, actually, Bill, do you want to talk a little bit about last weekend, the big super?
Yeah.
I've got a good 10 minutes left. It's up to you, Kyle, if you want. We're just going to
stay, or you can go, whatever you want.
Yeah, I'll stay on.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. I love it. I'll stay back and I'll just listen.
Okay, and you can comment if you want anything. The super region, Bill, you were at down in Aberdeen. Give me your impressions. Tell me a little bit what you're doing there. Instead, we could spend, I say 10 minutes. This might be an hour, guys.
Yeah.
Hopefully soon.
10 minutes at a tournament that started at 11 in the morning, went till 10:30 at night. It's a great tournament. I will once again say it's one of the best tournaments that I ever attend. That region is always very, very tough. It was, obviously COVID made it a little bit tougher this year with 2 qualifiers coming out of every weight class, and then they had 5 wild cards. So basically, if you made the finals, you had a pretty good chance of making it, but they did wrestle a true second. So, we did see some true seconds that did not, they took second and ended up losing the true second match and then not qualifying. So it's a heartbreaking event. It's always so emotional. I mean, at the end of the day, I was just, completely drained. And I'll say even like Northern's heavyweight was the last true second match. And he'd had a great day, beat a couple kids he'd lost to in the past, and, had a great day. But his true second match was, I looked at the clock and it was 10:38. So, I mean, that's a grind. I mean, it's a long day. No easy matches, there wasn't any 1 minute first periods in the wrestlebacks, right? I mean, these are 7-minute matches. And actually, I want to say he may have had a couple overtime matches. He definitely had 1, maybe 2. So, but just a long day, and it's but great wrestling. Always get to see a lot of upsets. I thought there was maybe a few less upsets this year than I have seen in the past. Some of those where you're looking around going, oh my gosh, he just lost. Look at that over there. But there was some of that. Of course, we go back and St. Cloud is still.
Can you do from the top of your head how many each team qualified?
Off the top of my head, I
or look on your
that,
computer.
I know that St. Cloud qualified 8. Mankato qualified 3 with 3 champs. So that was a pretty good day. Let's see, Upper Iowa, I think, had maybe 3 or 4. Northern State ended up with 1. They had 2 guys in the finals. They had lost a couple of true second matches. Mary had 2. One that ended up taking third, had a wild card. Another one that took second at 174 pounds. So they got in at 174, 165. Kind of a neat story. I guess we probably talked about it again. The two finalists at 174 pounds were from Mary and Mankato, Turf and oh my gosh, Mary kid Huss. Is that right? What's that?
Yes.
Yeah, and they ended up they're high school teammates. So they're wrestling in the finals of the super regional. So that was kind of a neat story. Minot ended up with no qualifiers. Moorhead ended up with 1 qualifier. Cole Jones, 125 pounds, had a good tournament, looked good. Am I missing? Augustana had a couple. Southwest Minnesota State had one at 197 pounds. Oh, maybe no, they had two. They had one that took second, one, and then at 197 pounds that took third. Jackson Ryan was a sixth-year senior that ended up with a wild card.
And then, did you want to tell people how many people get to go watch this thing?
Yeah, every athlete gets to bring one spectator, unless they make the finals, then they get four. So
yeah, you have to wait to get the hotel, waiting to see if you make it in.
Wow, that doesn't.
Yeah, so it makes no sense at all. So, but it is what it is, I guess. The weird thing is, and of course, Jim Makovsky, kind of told us this the other day. We were talking about it that, then the next week it's in St. Louis, and the next week the D1s are in St. Louis, and they're going to have they get four per athlete per qualifier. Obviously, a lot more qualifiers. There's only, we're only talking 130 qualifiers, right? Is that right? Yep. 132 at the D2s. So, obviously D1s we're going to have 330, right? So, and they get four. Yeah, it's kind of a weird deal. Both in St. Louis, I don't get it, I guess, but it is what it is. They're gonna, these are kids that if they make it to the national tournament, they're gonna be they'd wrestle in a telephone booth. They don't care, right? I mean, they're there. They just went through a battle, and every region's tough. I don't have any doubt that the Super Region 5 is year in, year out is the toughest region in the country. There are other good regions. It depends on which weight class. But like I said, St. Cloud qualified 8. For the most part, you're looking for one other spot at every weight class. So pretty. And when I left there, the guy had qualified 7. They did end up with a wild card. Since I've been following that region and going to that Super Region tournament, I don't know that I've seen a time that they've qualified less than 9. So,
ooh.
Oh my gosh, there we go. His update. Jim Makovsky's rant. He must have. I wonder if he called him. He probably yelled at him. So
Jim was mad. He has to take just a car down there.
Yeah. It's a great tournament. I always recommend going if anybody's in the area, and they can. Of course, I had a pretty good crowd. It was the same weekend, obviously, as the South Dakota State tournament, and this tournament was in Aberdeen. I thought Northern State did a great job hosting the tournament. They actually ran really smooth. Not a lot, they took a few breaks just to clean mats, and that was about it. It was fun. It was good. It was a good day.
Okay.
Good day of wrestling.
Well, I'll give my quick update on South Dakota wrestling. I was at the South Dakota State Wrestling Tournament, got to see the duels, and they had it in 2 different locations, which was about a 200-meter, maybe 300 to go from one place to the next, from a hockey arena over to the main Barnett, or they call the Civic Center there in Rapid City. And it was very, very good because you could stay inside. The wrestling was phenomenal. Class B and Class A, South Dakota, they got pretty much a full season in. They got to do tournaments, but only one-day tournaments. So you could see the conditioning was tough. They'll make a couple different rule changes. They did have duels and individuals where you have Canton, which has kind of been which somebody gave them the nickname, the Evil Empire of South Dakota for Class B. And they're different in South Dakota. I mean, the fans would cheer against one another in the finals, kind of like back in the old days. Napoleon used to have it where all the fans would be in the finals and everybody would cheer against the Napoleon kid. I don't know if you remember those days back in the late 90s, early 2000s when Napoleon ran it for 6 years in a row. But this was the thing in South Dakota where the next team winner who took second place during the dual finals, they're yelling against one another. Like I heard a mother, and I can't even repeat what she was saying. She had purple hair and she's yelling, calling a kid a name because he was taking an injury. Was calling him the P word. I can't even say what that is. Get up, yep. And I just got to stop at that. But it was crazy, and they're going back and forth, and so the excitement. But Class B brings it in South Dakota every year. Class A they have some very good wrestlers, and a couple going to Northern, couple wrestling at the next level. I see that the state of South Dakota wrestling is very good, in very good shape. And I was impressed. They ran it really smooth. Going the Grappler's been kind of controversy a little bit because they had the schedule. They changed the schedule this year, and they had the duels kind of intermingled, kind of how North Dakota does it. And a lot of people didn't like that. Some people didn't like the refereeing, and you name it. You can go over to the message board like usual. And South Dakota, I told people, hey, we got to have a season, stay positive, and that just hasn't happened on the message board for some of them. But always good. I want to thank the South Dakota people for what they do for the sport. There's some people, some good friends that I have on that come on quite frequently. Both Tom and his boy took second. Want to give him a shout out. He very super good friend who got to see his boy make the finals and lose a close match. And so give him all the hearts that maybe his son can win a state championship next year, be on the top of the podium. Other than that, guys, I tell you what, we'll make some updates. We'll try to get on, every week, and we'll make an update with Kyle and see, hopefully he qualifies. It'd be really great. I know there's 7 at his weight class guaranteed in.
Yep.
So that's the first shot. Sit there and see if you can make in that spot. But I'd like to see you in the top 5.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Big time. I know I can do it. I'm going to, that's the whole goal this weekend. Our team qualify everybody through. That's our goal. So.
Yep. No doubt. That's what we want to be. Any last words, Bill, now that we got just a little bit in there?
No, I don't. I just hey, everybody watch some wrestling. This is we got through a couple state tournaments and a regional tournament. Now we've got 2 great big conference tournaments here locally. We got the Big Tens obviously happening with Kyle there. We got Big 12s happening in Tulsa, NDSU, South Dakota State, both going to be battling down there. We've got obviously Jared Franick, Brandon Metz, Kellen March, a lot of the North Dakota, South Dakota flavor. So yeah, a
lot of wrestling still.
A lot of wrestling. Oh gosh, it's just getting started. This is exciting. We got Big Tens, we got Big 12s, we got next week you got DP Nationals. Chance. We got the then we got the last chance qual. And then we got the NCAA's, and we got the women's national NAI national here in Jamestown.
Yep.
Then we got last chance. We got the Olympic trials. And we're just getting heated up. Exciting.
Always. And guess what? Keep coming back, guys. Bill and I will be on many, many more times. We'll catch you guys later. Appreciate it. Go support wrestling. Go promote it, guys. Have a good day. Thanks again, Kyle.